Okay, so I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the previous video. I suppose I could have looked at it in the camera here before I started doing this one, but well, anyway, I've got some of the trim, the paint, red trim painted onto the airplane now. The problem I just ran into two problems, two situations, not problems, just a situation. So the first situation is that I didn't have enough of the red that I settled on for the trim. The one that matches the decaling the closest was the lighter red, but I didn't have enough of it. I thought I had 2 cans of it, but I don't, and so I had to order a can of that, and that's going to take a while, and I won't be able to do the wing without it. So I won't be able to attach the wing to the airplane permanently until I can paint it first. And that's situation number 1. Out of red paint, it's on order. It's not going to be until, it's going to be a couple weeks. A week anyway. A week from tomorrow. A week from Monday. Whatever day this is, it'll be a week from, it's about a week. Alright, so I've applied all of the decaling to the fuselage. The fuselage assembly and paint is finished, so I could decal it, and that's what we've done here. I'll try to get you some images of that. I don't know how good that's going to be. I don't have much room to maneuver, and I don't have a turntable to set it on, so that's going to have to do. So we have our side stripe. We had to come in a little bit high with our side stripe. It's not optimally placed, but that's because of the landing gear blisters. The way the kit had the gear positioned and the way I attached the blisters, I probably could have cut a little deeper into the blisters and lowered and set them lower onto the top of the landing gear. That might have been more ideal than what ended up happening. So we ended up just above the side keel on both sides, but it's even. So I just notched out the stripe and saved the notch. We just cut it like so and saved that little thumbnail piece, set the striping on, and then set the thumbnail piece that I sliced off over the top of our blisters. And I don't know if the focus is right, but you can see that worked out on both sides. It looks pretty good. The stripe looks pretty good as it goes around and over the north end of our blisters. So that's the side stripe. The windows these actually came with the Dumas kit. I just cut them free. They came with as one complete decal with 3 windows and a door, with the second of the 3 incorporated into the door. So I just sliced away the door, just cut out the windows on this side. On the Air Express, it only had a cabin door on one side. On the right hand side of the airplane, it had an enlarged kick-out window here. So I'm going to take a black Sharpie and just trace around this decal. I left a clear overhang all the way around by about 1/16 of an inch. So when I trace around that with the black pen, it'll look like a kick-out window. And that was the purpose of doing it that way. And on this side, I think you can see the door. I'm not sure let me look. Okay, you can kind of see it, I guess. Apologize for the angles and the lighting, as usual. My desk is completely clean. I polished it right before I shot this video. I don't know what all this stuff is doing here, but the desk is clean. What else? So all the decaling on the fuselage is done. I painted the cowling. Here's our uncowled Williams Brothers engine applied to the airplane. Let me get it rotated to the right position. You always want there's a top dead center #1 cylinder, and on a Pratt & Whitney or a Wright engine, this is a Pratt & Whitney Wasp, the oil pump and circulator is on the very bottom. So if you orient it that way, #1 cylinder, dead center, your oil pump at the bottom, you're good. So anyway, that's how it looks with the motor assembled, with the few bits and pieces I've attached in there. I don't know. I don't know if you can see how that looks. It looks pretty well plumbed in there, which is all I wanted. Just the look of plumbing, and we get that. So that's why I did minimal amount, just a few bits and pieces. I didn't want to try and match exactly to the photographs and just put a ton of stuff in there, because then you run into fit issues with the engine not seating properly and completely against that firewall with just a magnet to hold it. So that's why I did what I did. I've got fuel lines in here. I just need to attach them under the wing. Once we set the wing, we'll just take our long nose pliers and plug those in and slide the grommets up to it. I also cut out the holes for our aileron push rods, and I cut a few lengths of straight pin just to insert, and we'll use those to replicate the aileron push rods. So that's done. The cowling is being painted right now. These are the cowling stripes. So what I did was I just made a V that fit inside of this outline, basically halfway under the decal on both legs, that V. So when this goes onto the cowling, it'll cover the red edge, and the red will ideally completely fill this open area and this small other little eyelet open area here behind the delta right there. So anyway, that's our decal. It'll be cut approximately here. So this little piece here is extra. And then, okay, so the issues. So those are the two issues. One, I'm out of paint, and two, the Gilmore decals that Callie sent me, this one for the sides of the fuselage is too big. The font is too tall, and the graphic is too big. It doesn't fit the space. So if you look, let me see if I can get this. So if we look here, if I just tilt it up so you can see the length of the graphic, it has to go from the front of this fairing. In other words, it has to go right from the end of the side stripe, and it has to terminate before it reaches the window, because it straddles the line. It straddles the line exactly. Now, you can see clearly that's going to cover the window. The E is just one letter too much, and ultimately what it is this is much too big. It needs to be reduced about 25%, probably. 25% would get it down to about 4 1/8 inches and make the font the correct size. And it's worse actually on the other side, because the way the windows, the cabin windows, they don't line up. In other words, that's not a straight shot through each window. For cabin integrity, for the strength of the fuselage, they didn't put the windows directly opposed to each other. These are slightly forward of the others, which are slightly back. And you know, obviously that's to maintain integrity, cabin integrity. You don't want weak points going completely around the fuselage. Is the way I understand it. So, and I could be wrong. It could be that I just placed the decals in the wrong damn spot, but don't quote me on that. And you know, if you do investigate it, don't report back to me. I'm probably wrong, but I believe that's what I read. And in the images I saw, they were not completely aligned. The forward window, or this window in this position, is just slightly different from the two sides. So there's that. So I tried to copy or match the imagery that I saw, the photographs. Okay, so we need paint, and I texted or emailed Callie with photographs of how exactly this is too big, and kind of more or less exactly what I need it to be instead. Haven't heard back. You know, she had a notice posted on her website about COVID, and so I probably won't hear anything back for a week or two, which means I probably won't see graphics replacements probably for a month or more, which is unfortunate. But being where they are, I can come back and put this on at any time. It's just the clear coat can't go on until I have it. So I won't be able to clear coat the airplane like when I wanted to. A bit of good news. So as far as the control surface demarcation lines, you guys know, I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but I don't do a great job of drawing those on with a pen, with a fine point pen. I usually mess that up completely. So I like to use trim tape for that, but on the decal sheet, you can see the stripes, the black stripes that I have. Those were intended on the Dumas kit. This is a Dumas decal set. Those are intended to be used as the side stripe. They were just parallel black lines without the gold that we have on Callie's markings. But again, the Dumas markings, in fairness, are not for the Turner Air Express. They're for a generic all red, basically like a Texaco version. Or not the Texaco version, but similar to that one. So that's why these stripes are the way they are. And what I can do is I can slice and dice those and use them as trim tape to do the control surface demarcation. So I'll be able to put the rudder elevator line, the rudder line, and the aileron lines onto the wings using this stuff, and that'll save me time and effort. I don't have to slice them myself off of a big sheet of trim tape like I normally do. I can just slice these up, and these will work just fine. Once everything is under the clear coat, you're done. It's over. It's good. It'll stay forever. So here we are. Couple of issues, and they're not. That's not horrible. I mean, I would have liked to have had the paint. But it's ordered, and I order from HobbyLink, HOBBYLINC, HobbyLink. That's where I get all the kits. That's where I get all my supplies. This is a plug, shameless one for HobbyLink. They are awesome. I've never gotten an order pulled incorrectly. I've never had to wait inordinately. I mean, with COVID, it may take longer for them to get my order to me, but that's fine. I mean, I'm surprised really that these companies are doing it at all. I'm thankful and grateful for the employees that do that. For me, this pastime is the best way to spend this, what do you call it, social distancing, or it's my hangar exile. Anyway, so this is our airplane today. You can see that's not bad. I really like how Dumas did the window decal. It's pixelated. It's not a solid gray, and so we can actually feel it. Feels like almost like a really fine mesh. That's not what it is, but it feels like it, if you can believe that. So it's pixelated, which makes it really. It kind of looks really, to me, I mean, as far as it just being a graphic and the windows not actually being cut out and acetate placed in them and frickin' curtains and an interior. Going this route, cosmetic windows, these are pretty nice. I like them kind of a lot. They look good. So, and Callie's graphics, all the other graphics that I got from her, you see the lion's heads, Gilmore's face. On the airplane, those look terrific. They're really detailed, much more than I had thought. Just kind of peeking at them through the carrier sheet of paper, the top sheet. So now you see them in their full glory. They're spectacular. The graphics are beautiful. Just one little hiccup, but that's all right. Like I said, I can apply those anytime. So the cowling is drying out in the sun with its red chevrons, or red, whatever they are, these V shapes. As soon as that's dry, I still don't know how this decal is going to wrap around that cowling. I'm probably going to have to do a lot of cutting, and the problem is I'm going to have to, the way you apply these, they're not water slide, but if you apply water to the surface of the model and then lay these onto that, it's a soapy water actually. There's 2 drops of soap per cup of warm water. And that's the solution that you use. It's not water, it's a solution of dish soap and water. So you lay that onto the airplane over the area that's going to be covered, set your decal on that, and you can actually manipulate it a little bit. Now, it does tend to set up after 1 or 2 little moves. You can feel it when you do that. It's pushing the water pretty much out of the way, pushing the solution away and creating a bond. So you don't get too much time or too much play. So you have to get close to where you want, but there is a little bit of movement, and if you have to pull off, you can pull it off safely without pulling paint. So you can also apply them dry. I put the Gilmore Lion text on here dry. I put the little lion heads on dry, but everything else I set using the solution, and it worked. I even set the windows from Dumas using that method. And then you just squeegee the water out with a credit card or something, non-abrasive and something that won't scratch either the decal or the paint. And then as you're positioning that, then you just kind of wipe it off, and you're good to go. So that's how the decals go on. These are, the peel and stick graphics. So it wasn't bad. It actually worked out better than I thought. I was really concerned about how those were going to go on. So I hope you'll like it. And as soon as it's going to take some time to get that paint. As soon as the cowling is dry, I'll turn the camera on. I'm going to go through those fits and Nightmare that situation on camera. Whether we win or lose with the cowling, and I don't know if we'll win, but if we lose with the cowling, we still have the Williams Brothers engine and this configuration right here, which I think looks pretty good anyway. And that's the photograph that I posted, was with Roscoe leaning against the wheel and with the cowling off, and it did fly that way several times. So it's not inaccurate to hang the model like this. Okay, I'm hoping the cowling works out, but it doesn't have to. It's not life or death. All right, and I would recommend anybody's going to build this as a display model. You might want to think about doing it, having both options available in case something goes wrong with it. Although many of you may be able to do a better job of just painting everything onto the cowling, including this stuff. I may not be very good at doing that. So we'll find out later. Thanks for watching.